today's show with Jesus Freak Computer Geek on, what does he call himself again? Awakened Saint. You know who I'm talking about if you listen to them. He's something else. He's awakened something else now. Anyways, Dave, he was talking about Orgonite. And actually, I've wanted to talk to you guys about this for a long time, but I kind of stayed away because I have made Orgonite for years. And of course, I started it when I was in the New Age because that's kind of where I found the whole idea of Orgonite. It's basically, it is taking resin, taking crystals, and wrapping them with, I use copper wiring. He talked about a penny. I find that wrapping the copper around the stone works best for conductive, for doing the way you want it to be. Anyways. And I haven't talked about this because I did see another sister say, crystals are bad, but I think it's time that I do. Like I said, I have sold them, used to sell them, used to make them for decorative, but I've sold them to a lot of the people around my area and made them for my family members, and and I've scattered them. I don't know, so many from here to the little town that I live in, and in the subdivision that I live in. I've scattered them all over the place, like these little ones, they call them pucks. You just make them, they're not pretty. I also have an Orgonite that I have under my bed. So let me tell you about what it does. It's not magical, it's not anything to do with voodoo or conjuring spirits or anything like that. It literally is just piezo electronics. It's you put it in resin, and when you put the crystal in resin with the metal, it gives out a frequency, and that frequency interrupts with a couple of different types of frequencies. It interrupts the 5G frequency, or any actually wireless frequency. It tries to neutralize it in your home, and it more than does that. I put it around my yard because the reason why I can film the stars as much as I can is a lot of times you're not going to see it today, because today there's just gray. It's been raining off and on, but typically if I was doing this, there'd be a huge circle of clouds around my house, and with a nice clear sunny spot, like my whole yard is typically, I have the sun coming through, because like I said, I've made many of them, and then I have lots inside my house, and they seem to dissipate chemtrails and the artificial clouds. It doesn't do anything on regular clouds, but it seems to push them away. So you'll get really strange looking things. Even I've had members, my family, when they've been over and we've been in the yard, saying, isn't that weird? It's like you got a perfect circle of clear sky just above your house, or my whole yard, which I've got 3 acres, so it's quite a bit. And this is why, because Orgonite actually does that. And I put it under my bed, and this was a big selling feature. I sold it to a lot of older women in the past because it really does work. It helps with balancing out your electrical system, and it helps with healing and things like that. So it helps you sleep, and it gives you energy. So a few times since I've had it under my bed for about 3 years now, a nice big piece And a couple of times, like when I thought, well, maybe there might be something wrong with it, so I took it out from under my bed once. And sure enough, within a week, I started feeling I was just dragging myself. I didn't have the energy. And I thought, well, this works, so I'm putting it back under. Sure enough, within a few days, my energy level picked up, and I felt so much better. I felt some tremendous health benefits, and it really is just a natural, you think about a transistor radio, it's the same thing. They use crystals and they connect them to, metal. That's how that's done. It's not evil, it's just God's stuff, and it's like anything, you can make anything evil or you can use it for good. And this, you don't do incantations or, when I'm making them, I do ask, I try to make them in a positive attitude when I'm in a good mood. I don't really like to, because everything holds energy. It just does. That's just not new age. That's just the way it is. Have you ever walked into a house or a place, may not even be inhabited, and you get that creepy feeling? Well, it's because there is an energy that has been held there. It's sort of like, the old record kind of, where they say that, the stones can carry memory and stuff like that. It can be recorded in that area, whatever it is. Some famous hauntings, they believe are like that. They're more like recordings than they are actual possessions of anything there. It's just part of the way the universe works. And it's your intention. So if you're a new ager and you're trying to do some voodoo with it, well, that's wrong on you. If you're just doing it as it's a great tool to help with your health and help neutralize some of the, micro radiation that's going through your house, it helps, So I really wanted to talk to you about that because I think it is a benefit, and it might be a benefit today. Super, super easy to make. I have a whole bunch of molds that I make them out of, but you can literally start with a Teflon muffin pan and make it in that. And you see, I use the crystals that I find just in my walking, because there are many that you can use. Quartz crystal is a very great conductor. I'm trying to see if I can see any right now that I would. I have tons that I have at home because I love rocks and I collect rocks, and yes, I'm very weird. What can I say? Nature fascinates me. So anyways, I'm trying to see if I can find. It's really easy to find them when it's right after it's rained, because you'll get that kind of a shiny look to them, and you can see which ones are quartz crystal and what isn't. So anyways, that's what I do. I make mine very inexpensive. I just got the wire, copper wire, and I just put it around it, and I buy the resin that you get from the car, from where you get, like in Canadian Tire or Home Depot, where it's for fixing paint jobs on your car. I buy that, and one of those bottles, when make as many as you want, but you can use it inside the tin, inside the muffin tin. And so you can make as many. So you just throw a bunch. You can put down, like for those ones, I would just, collect the ones that are very crystalline from here and throw it on the bottom with one bigger crystal and wrap that one, or I will make a big spiral and just put it on the bottom of it and just pour the resin in, let it harden. Do not do this inside. The resin is very toxic, so I don't make it unless the weather is warm. And if you make it in weather like this, it will take days for it to dry, so don't do it like that. Wait until you've got a really nice sunny day, and throw them in your rose bushes if you want to. Throw them around your yard, throw them in everywhere. That's what I did. I went and I threw them everywhere in my subdivision there. And so when I'm on my walk, and the people, it's not just for me. It's like a gift. They call it gifting, right? So I'm gifting to my neighborhood in this small little town that I have a lot of good friends. I just went and threw Orgonite all over in the bushes, and it's great to throw it by these transformers because it helps neutralize them as well. Well, that's what they say, and like I said, I have seen some incredible, things from these. And not only that, I have a flat one, like coasters, that I put under my water. Like I have a water purifier under my sink, and I have one underneath. And I'll tell you, the ones that I make for coasters, any drink whatsoever, if you put your water on it, beer on it, wine, juice, doesn't matter, it changes the taste to so delicious, so refreshing. It completely changes it. So there is this, and to give you, if there's a couple of tests that you can do, or experiments that you can do with it, if you have a piece of Orgonite or if you plan on making it. One of them, and we've done it, and we filmed it all and done it. Well, that's the one. Just put like if you got a coaster, I've done this for party tricks, where I'll put a beer on top, let it wait for a couple of minutes, and then get the guy to drink it, and they're shocked at the taste. But another thing that you can do is put in a little bit of food dye inside a jar and put the Orgonite underneath it or on top of it and put it in the freezer. And what you will find will blow your mind. It will turn into a hourglass, the dye inside. And we have done that. Is really, really interesting. So it definitely it's doing what it's doing. And that, if you look up on it, you will find that it was originally made into a box, and it was to help people cure them from cancer and all of these different things. But I think it's because the reason why it was curing people is because it does work with the microwave technology or electrical technology and stuff, and it helps neutralize that. And when he was doing that, whenever they start to change the power grid, you'll find that there's a huge spike in people getting diseases like MS and just, those kind of autoimmune diseases that nobody can truly understand where they come from. Well, they sure have a big link when they upgrade, the electrical systems of any kind. So he was, this one doctor was making them, and I can't remember his name. He made this box, and he made it out of steel wool. And I can't remember what he did, but he got people to sit in it, and he was curing people of many diseases. But I think it really had to do with that they were having a period of time where their bodies weren't being bombarded with electrical influence. Because when you start to look back in history, you will find a lot of these bouts of illnesses that happened. There's usually a few things that that caused these bouts of illnesses? Well, for one, if you go back to even the 12th century, you will find, and many more times, they've been using vaccinations on us for a long time, where they will come out and say that they need to inoculate us. And then they'll inoculate a huge part of the population, and 9 months later, everybody dies of cholera or some form of a plague. It's when you start doing your research in that, it's shocking to the degree that you just can't imagine the links and how they've been using this same thing about vaccinations forever. Anyways, so there's the vaccinations, and then there is parasites, and fungus. So you've got the electrons that are destroying your nervous system, which is destroying your spine and your mylar on your nerves, and that's what causes things like MS and lupus and you name it. And or you're getting candidus, where you got a fungus inside yourself and it's growing uncontrolled, and you've got infection after infection, and you're treating it with antibiotic, which antibiotics create that problem worse, but you just don't know because you feel better for a couple of days. So there's that. Or because viruses, the more that you look into viruses is something that they're injecting in us, that they're creating. But we have our natural things that do. And the fungus part of it, and I'm telling you, staying in your house is going to make you have fungus infections. It's going to make your fungus grow exponentially. Because even like you think, oh, well, I've got a sinus infection. Best thing for a sinus infection is to go outside in the sunlight and get sun, because it will help with that. Heat also helps with that. But there's many more things that I've talked about in the past. So we got the fungus that goes rampant when you're staying in the house, which causes all kinds of illnesses. Oh, please go and look at the list of illnesses. Chances are, if you're sick with something, it's that. If you've got a cold, it's a fungus. It's not colds are seasonal, right? The reason why they're seasonal is what we're looking at, There's snow molds, there's grass molds. When it's wet and damp and there's no sun outside, when they're just clouding it all over, molds, funguses, parasites grow. And parasites is horrendously common in the Western society. Chances are you have, unless you are treating your body with some type of a parasitical killer, you have an abundance of parasites throughout your whole body. Even in your brain or your heart or your lungs, or they're insidious, literally. And unless you're treating it, and the best way to treat fungus, parasites, bacteria of any kind is MMS. I've talked about this before. It's like the best one. You can also treat with colloidal silver, but I'll tell you, MMS is the best. It works the quickest, and you heal fast from it. Literally, you can see the results of the parasites and start to come through your system, through your tract system. It will come out and you will see them. But there is pure spirits have turpentine, which does similar to the same thing, except for it doesn't kill the parasites. It makes them flee, and it doesn't give you the herx, because when these parasites and fungus and all that die, they have a kind of a toxin that they release from their body, which causes this thing called the herx, and that's like the flu. So a cold, like a flu, that's what happens when you get a really bad sinus infection and you go on antibiotics, and about the third or fourth day, you're sicker than a dog, you feel worse than you did before. It's because you are experiencing the die-off effects of the parasites or fungus that's inside your body, okay? So that's what the MMS will give you, the same thing as antibiotics will. It'll do that for a day or two, and then you start feeling better. And then, where with the turpentine, it doesn't do that, so you don't get that, but you have to supplement yourself with both of them, plenty of water and something to help you go, so that you will get rid of them. They will pass through your system. And you should do that kind of with both of them, but the MMS causes you to do that anyways, so you don't have to take something separate. So anyways, yes, back to the Orgonite. There's many things that you can do for your health. And if you remember those main things, what causes illness? What does truly cause illness? Illness is caused by radioelectric. So anything along that, anything that has an electrical charge will cause you to get sick, whether it is 5G, 4G, just your light bulb. Electricity running through your house will cause you, if you're highly sensitive. Like the power lines. Remember all the power lines that we used to complain about? That will cause you to be sick, and that will disturb your system. It will disturb your own electrical system. And then there is parasites, which we all have. If you eat meat, you have parasites. If you have hamburger, you have parasites. I don't care how much you cook it. Parasites are everywhere, and it's not always the ones that make your bum scratch. So don't think that. And you have fungus. And fungus is rampant, people. And rampant in the wintertime, and rampant in wet climates, and rampant when they're blocking out the sun. So if you are still suffering from health issues and you don't know, and the doctor can't help you because they're not there to help you, and they're there to make money for the pharmaceutical company, plain and simple. So when they give you an antibiotic to treat something, remember you're now going to get a fungus infection because of that. You're going to get an overabundance of fungus because of that antibiotic that they put you on. That's why I've switched to Colloidal Silver, because Colloidal Silver is an anti-natural antibiotic, and it will get rid of these things. It's kind of like the lighter of the MMS. Excuse me. It's not as strong. It doesn't work as quick, but it works really well if you're in a minor problem. But for major health issues, I would say, and I don't know if there's still YouTube channels teaching you how to make MMS, because you can make it at home. You don't have to worry about buying it. But looks like the Jim Henson's website is still up. He's the founder of it, and he charges like $35 American, and it lasts for about 6 months. If you were treating your whole family with it, it lasts maybe 3 months, 2 months. Like, it's crazy cheap, and it works. So that's what I wanted to get on here and just talk about some of the wisdom that I've collected over the years, that so you don't have to go to the pharmaceutical company, because I just don't trust them. I don't know about you guys, but since all they want to do is vaccinate us against the viruses that they gave us in the last vaccination, I don't want to have anything to do with them. I don't want to give them any more of my money or my time or my energy researching all the ways their drugs can kill me. I love you guys. I'm going to let you go. I'm freezing. It is windy and cold. But stay in the light, stay in the knowledge, stay in God's power, because I'll tell you, He is a good, gracious God. Talk to you later.